So yes, it's a magic wand. And the reason I got my magic wand out is because this weekend I had my Sunday lesson from my 4-year-old great-granddaughter. Now, Gerald and I have gotten out of going to Disney movies. And I really realize how much I miss. Because this weekend, we were there, this last week, having Christmas. And she had a magic wand that was cuter than this. It was clear and had little sparkly things in it. I really wanted it. And I looked a couple of places to see if I could find me one, but I couldn't. But Claire taught me a lesson because I said, I bent down and I was playing with it, and I think she saw my eyes upon it. She said, "That's mine." I said, "Yes, dear." It's yours. What is the magic word? Do you say a magic word? And she took it from me, and I wish that I was one of those people that had the camera on, because she grabbed it and she said, "Well, this is how you use it. You go, let it go. Let it go." And I thought, that's pretty good. Bang it 4 times and say, "Let it go." Then my daughter-in-law, my granddaughter, my granddaughter-in-law, and my great-granddaughter-in-law said, "Haven't you seen Frozen?" No. Oh my gosh, every child evidently knows Frozen. And the Frozen, there's a song from Frozen about letting it go. Let it go. So our whole lesson today is about letting it go. There is a story that was in a Unity booklet that came out in the year, for New Year's in the year 2000. It was a book for the new millennium. And there was a story in it that the man that wrote it was Ed Harris. Now, I don't know who he is. I just remember the story. He was a school teacher, and he talked about the fact that every day when he'd go into class, that he'd go in and there would be, the chalkboard would be erased. And that one particular day he walked in, and one of the students was rewriting a committee up in the corner. There was a little committee named up in the corner, and he was carefully tracing over the letters that were still there and putting the list back on the chalkboard. And Ed told him, he said, "Well, Mark, you don't have to do that today, because let's talk about it after class." Because what he had learned over the weekend is that one of the committee people had moved away, and the committee was changing. But that night when he went home, he realized, he kept thinking about that vision of Mark rewriting the words over again on that chalkboard. And he said it kept reminding him that Native Americans, their traditional belief is that every day when you go to sleep, you're dying, and every morning when you wake up, you're given a fresh start. And he thought about that, and he thought about the fact that every day we have a clean slate, a clean blackboard, and that you and I get to make the choice about whether we're going to rewrite yesterday's messages back on the board. You and I get to remember the hurts, the things that have offended us. Every day, you and I get to choose where we're going to invest our energy. We can repeat our feelings and our attitudes and our prejudices of the previous day by rethinking them And when we do that, sometimes we do it pretty deliberately. We bring it up and we rethink it word for word. But you and I know, because we come here and because we know the truth, and I did give you a sheet that had some truths on it. It has a little picture of a get out of jail free card, because I believe that truth does set us free. And the reason that I gave that to you is because we gave them out last year, and somebody told me that their piece of paper from last year needed to be replaced. And so they said, would you replace that? Would you give us those affirmations again? And so we get to choose. We get to choose to look at these affirmations that are on this piece of paper, that Spirit supports its own expression. Nothing is greater than God. Abundance is here and now. Reality is a here and now reality. Or we get the choice of copying our old habits and our old thoughts. We get to write anything we want on our chalkboard. Joy or sorrow, love or hate, peace or lack of peace. We get to write good or bad or indifference. And you and I have a subconscious mind slate that will accept our naming of life's experiences, whatever we choose. There's a verse in Revelations 21:5 that says, "See, I am making all things new." And every day and every minute, you and I get to make all things new. Last week, I shared a poem and said, I don't do that very often. And so today, I'm going to share another poem. Contradictions. This poem is called "I Am Very Accommodating." It's by an unknown author. I ask no questions. I accept whatever you give me. I do whatever I'm told to do. I do not presume to change anything you think, say, or do. I file it away in perfect order, quickly and efficiently, and then I return it to you exactly as you gave it to me. Sometimes you call me your memory. I am the reservoir into which you toss anything your heart or mind chooses to deposit there. I work night and day, I never rest, and nothing can impede my activity. The thoughts you send me are categorized and filed, and my filing system never fails. I am truly your servant who does your bidding without hesitation or criticism. I cooperate when you tell me that you are this or that, and I play it back as you give it. I am most agreeable. Since I do not think, argue, judge, analyze, question, or make decisions, I accept impressions easily. So I'm going to ask you to sort out what you send me. My files are getting a little cluttered and confused. Please discard those things that you do not want returned to you. What is my name? Oh, I thought you knew. I am your subconscious. When you and I came into this world as innocent little babies, our subconscious was clean and clear. It only had an impression of God. But as we grew, we began to stuff our minds with all sorts of things, and we can stuff them with thoughts that are good and affirming, or we can stuff them with things that are negative and limiting. That's why I'm so passionate about our children, that if we can teach them here that they are loved, that's putting something into their subconscious that will serve them well. If they live to 110, they'll be 110 years happier years if they know that. Unity doesn't have very many rituals because the co-founders of Unity, Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, felt it was more important for us to do our work internally, to do it in our mind and in our heart, rather than as an outer ceremony. Ritual for ritual's sake does not have much meaning, but ritual done with knowledge, understanding, and intent can be very powerful. So the few rituals we do have in Unity, we want to participate in with the full understanding of the inner work, the mind work, the heart work that the outer ceremony represents. And so one of the rituals or ceremonies that many Unity churches are having either today or New Year's Eve or New Year's Day or next Sunday is a burning bowl. And the burning bowl, like other ancient rituals, is a cleansing ceremony. It's a ritual of cleansing. In the Jewish tradition, there's Yom Kippur, and that's where it's a Day of Atonement. It's still celebrated, but back in the Bible days, the high priest went into the inner sanctum and took 2 goats. And one of those goats he sacrificed, and it was chosen to be for God. He sacrificed it and used the blood of that goat to clean the altar. You know, we have a little hard time understanding that today. But the second goat was the goat of removal, or the scapegoat. And the priest would place his hands on the goat, and all of the sins of the people were transmitted onto that goat, and then the goat was released into the wilderness, carrying away the sins of the people. Today we don't sacrifice animals. But just like in biblical times, deep healing occurs when we can release old attitudes and beliefs that no longer serve us, when we can release the hurts and the things that have happened to us during the year. And so many of you have had another type of cleansing ceremony, and that is a baptism or a christening. And that's another ritual that symbolizes the release of old beliefs and the acceptance of new beliefs. So in a moment, we're going to have a time of contemplation, and we will symbolically burn all of our error thoughts. The burning bowl of itself has no power. It is a ritual that is symbolic of a process. It's the symbolic giving over of something to God. The powerful act happens when we sit and contemplate and think about what we want to release. And when we walk up and burn it, it's as if we're saying to ourselves, okay, I've taken you out, I'm letting you go. Can I share your story, Robbie? So Robbie walked in this morning and said, well, I see you're having a burning bowl. She had said that there was someone in her life that she had been trying to get in touch with, that she was worried about, and that finally she did a little burning ceremony, and she actually put their name on the piece of paper, her worry about them, on a piece of paper, and burned it, and the next day got a Facebook friend request from that person. She released that worry, that concern, and made room for something else to happen. So when we write that down, and you can sit home any time of the year, you can burn it, you can tear it up, you can shred it, you can crumple it, you can flush it, you can send it to Silent Unity. Power and the release occurs when we willingly do that in here. So today we're going to consciously and prayerfully bring to mind the things that we want to release from our subconscious mind in order to open our hearts to a fuller expression of God, in order to have a greater and deeper understanding of God, a better relationship with God, a better relationship with the other people in our lives. What we write on the piece of paper doesn't have to tell a story. You'll know that you got a little piece of paper. Doesn't have to even be a complete sentence. We don't need to write down a lot of details because there's probably one word that signifies to us what the whole story and situation is, and God knows all the details. So in your bulletin was stapled a little piece of flash paper. So if you don't have a bulletin, if you don't have a piece of flash paper, or if you don't have a pen, if you'll raise your hands, we'll try to make sure that you get one. Does anybody need things? And so in a moment we're going to do this, but first we have to have our safety lesson. This is flash paper. So what you want to do is put it on by the flame and let go. It's gone. Don't hold on. So, Gerald, would you put on our little meditation music, please? Let's close our eyes and go into prayer for a moment. Father, Mother God, we acknowledge your presence in our life. This morning we know that we are in a safe place. We ask for your guidance, and we accept your guidance in this process of letting go. I gently let these questions bring forth that which needs to be healed. I take a moment and I thank the divine for all the gifts in my life now. I appreciate that I have this opportunity to move forward. I know that every situation and every relationship from my past has taught me, just as every situation and relationship from your past has taught you something useful and has made you what you are today. And now notice those things that have outlived their usefulness. What keeps you stuck? What stops you from living your deepest dreams? Recognize the obstacles to achieving the changes that you choose for your life. Begin to make mental note of all those things you're ready to release. Where are you still holding resentment toward another person, toward yourself? Take a moment right now to think about who you really are. You are a divine expression of God, existing in God's universe, and God is all there is. And think about your life. Think for a moment about the things you don't enjoy. The things, the people, the places that don't align with you anymore. These can be unpleasant things, or they can even be good things that you've outgrown or overused. The greatest power we have is the power to grow. It's natural to outgrow things, to continue and extend. We release so that we may go into the new year fresh and clean. Ask yourself, what is the big thing that comes to mind that is standing in my way of moving forward. Do not judge. Just objectively observe what comes to mind. Ask yourself, what is within me that will have to change in order to make room for this new good that I have envisioned? What idea or ideas have I habitually entertained that must now shift so that I can create what's new? Let all your fears, worries, doubts, disappointments, and anger surface in your mind. See them as a muddy stream which flows out of you as you breathe. See yourself able to release all the old hurts, sadness, imbalance, and injustice in your life. Feel them pouring out. Let them go. Release all the should haves, the could haves, the if onlys. There are many layers to let go of. So for now, let go of those things that you are able to. What is the one idea that if your consciousness was completely free of it, you absolutely know you would finally be truly liberated and that your life would change dramatically? When you find that you can name it and label it, you are able to reclaim the power that it has claimed. Invite the indwelling spirit to guide you now and to realize what you need to let go of. I would invite you to stay in the silence, but open your eyes and write down on your paper the words that represent what you need to release. This is your private spiritual work. And take your time. It doesn't have to be neat or orderly. No one else will see it. And as you are ready, I would invite you to silently come forward and burn your paper. As you release it, watch it burn. Let the fire serve as a symbol for release.